Deuteronomy chapter 25. If there is a dispute between men and they go to court, and the judges decide their case, and they justify the righteous and condemn the wicked, then it shall be, if the wicked man deserves to be beaten, the judge shall then make him lie down and be beaten in his presence with the number of stripes according to his guilt. He may beat him 40 times, but no more, so that he does not beat him with many more stripes than these, and your brother is not degraded in your eyes. So certain punishments today require the death penalty. Back then, they'd get beaten. Verse 4, you shall not muzzle the ox while he is threshing. Verse 4 here pretty much stands alone as a completely new shift of thought. A threshing floor was a method of using an ox to stomp on grain, and then the broken up grain would go through a winnowing process, which was using air to separate broken up grain for the stalk. This verse stresses kindness and fairness to the animals that helped a person earn their daily bread. In 1 Corinthians chapter 9 in the New Testament, the Apostle Paul references this verse to show that if God cares about a working ox, how much more does he care about human laborers, especially those laboring for the kingdom? All right, sorry about that. Back to verse 5. When brothers live together and one of them dies and has no son, the wife of the deceased shall not be married outside the family to a strange man. Her husband's brother shall go into her and take her to himself as wife, and perform the duty of a husband's brother to her. It shall be that the firstborn whom she bears shall assume the name of his dead brother, so that his name will not be blotted out from Israel. In this way, even though a man died before the Lord fulfilled the covenant promises made to Abraham and his descendants, he could participate in a sense in the glorious future of Israel through his descendants. Verse 7, but if the man does not desire to take his brother's wife, then his brother's wife shall go up to the gate to the elders and say, my husband's brother refuses to establish a name for his brother in Israel. He is not willing to perform the duty of a husband's brother to me. Then the elders of his city shall summon him and speak to him. And if he persists and says, I do not desire to take her, then his brother's wife shall come to him in the sight of the elders, and pull his sandal off his foot, and spit in his face. And she shall declare, thus it is done to the man who does not build up his brother's house. In Israel his name shall be called, the house of him whose sandal is removed. And let's be honest, who wouldn't want to pull somebody's sandal off and spit in their face? Come on here. I know you're thinking it. All right. So carrying out the family name in this culture was a very big deal. Spitting in somebody's face clearly showed their strong disapproval and would leave the man in a sense of embarrassment and the stigma of being known for his stubbornness, which used societal pressures to motivate him to obedience. Verse 11, if two men, a man and his countryman, are struggling together, and the wife of one comes near to deliver her husband from the hand of the one who is striking him, and puts out her hand and seizes his genitals, then you shall cut off her hand. You shall not show pity. All right, I've said it before, you cannot make this stuff up. This obscure law was likely intended to protect both womanly modesty and the right of a man to produce heirs. Besides, if it was just a fist fight, that's a very low blow. Verse 13, you shall not have in your bag differing weights, a large and a small. You shall not have in your house differing measures, a large and a small. You shall have a full and just weight. You shall have a full and just measure, that your days may be prolonged in the land which the Lord your God gives you. For everyone who does these things, everyone who acts unjustly, is an abomination to the Lord your God. This had to do with business dealings. Weights and measures of trade were to be kept equitably so that people were not cheated. Obedience meant prosperous years in the land, which showed faith that ultimately it was the Lord who would withhold or give prosperity to them. Verse 17, remember what Amalek did to you along the way when you came out from Egypt. How he met you along the way and attacked among you all the stragglers at your rear when you were faint and weary, and he did not fear God. Therefore, it shall come about when the Lord your God has given you rest from all your surrounding enemies, in the land which the Lord your God gives you as an inheritance to possess, you shall blot out the memory of Amalek from under heaven. you must not forget. The Amalekites were a nomadic desert tribe ranging from Sinai northward to Upper Arabia. Amalek was the grandson of Esau, as we learned in Genesis chapter 36, and he commanded his army to cowardly attack the Israelites that lagged behind. 400 years after the fact, David defeated the Amalekites, and later they were completely wiped out in Hezekiah's day, seen in 1 Chronicles chapter 4. God wanted the Israelites to remember the heinous act that they committed against their people. And that's it for today, guys. Hope you have a wonderful day today, and looking forward to joining you tomorrow. Stay close to the Lord, and I'll be praying for you. Take care.